some kind of cloth. Cloth desu, cloth tiki.
Or swaying institutions, you'll just get darker colored Republicans. I hate that demographics is destiny, because it's not true. Not only is it lazy politics, it's not true because you don't understand how institutions work. Even if America, if there's a browning of America, doesn't mean they're all going to go Democrats.
Right.
Institutions make Americans.
Yeah.
Right? Not biology. Institutions make Americans. So
could that guy actually deny that the majority of them probably would go Democrat, though? That's my question. I mean, wouldn't they? I want to know the numbers. Do immigrants vote Democrat or Republican? Right?
What are you looking up?
I was just looking up how immigrants vote.
Yeah.
So in California, 48% of immigrants vote Democrat versus 21% Republican and 31% no lean. So largest category is Democrats.
Yeah, by a significant margin.
Yeah, and that's the same for, there's only 7 states on this table because those are probably the heaviest immigrant states. California, Florida, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and Texas. So for all of them, the largest category is the ones who vote Democrat. And the only place where no lean isn't bigger than Republican as well is Massachusetts. But in Massachusetts, it has the highest amount of Democratic leaning immigrants too. So no, it's 60% no lean, 67% Democratic lean, and 17% Republican lean in Massachusetts. So, no. Immigrants don't all vote Democrat. No. No one would make that argument and be smart.
Right.
Okay?
We're very smart people.
I promise we are, even when we can't fucking speak.
Yep.
But anyway, no. Immigrants don't all vote Democrat, but they do have a significant lean towards Democrat, okay? And that is the issue. They don't necessarily embody the American culture that we want to thrive here. Not saying that their cultures always are completely like incompatible or anything like that, but this is kind of an underhanded thing, you know what I mean? Obviously they're just trying to pull in more blue votes by bringing immigrants in. They've said so themselves. And they wouldn't say that if there was no truth to it. They wouldn't put so much. This is a right turn only, by the way.
What?
Yes. Holy shit, Christopher.
If you hadn't said that to me, I would have just
illegally gone
turned into
straight
the lane, and everything would have been fine.
Oh, so it's my fault that I told you what the law was.
No, it's my fault that I listened.
It's also your fault that you didn't notice what lane to be in the first place. Like you way too frequently do.
Yep, that's also true.
First and foremost, true. Definitely didn't have to fucking panic fire as a response. Holy shit.
You don't have to tell me that I didn't have to panic fire. That goes without saying.
I'm just saying.
Whatever that means. Hit or pass.
Oh, now you're just gonna steal my purple people, huh?
Hit or pass, yo.
Oh my god. Do you see what I have to deal with? Do you see this shit? Oh my god. I'm just kidding. I love him.
She's not kidding, but she does.
I'm not kidding, but I
she
do
does
love him. Yeah. Uh-huh. So not kidding, but I do love him. Just saying.
She's a bad liar.
Yanni Tay. I'm the most perfect liar in the fucking world.
Yeah, sure. Oh, well.
No, I'm not. I'm just not. I'm actually really bad at lying. As if that wasn't obvious.
Super funny. Is that good coffee, DJ?
It's delicious coffee, Christopher.
That's nice. We should visit Ireland someday. Just saying.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with you. Where's my pen? I didn't put it anywhere.
Where did you cheaply put it, DJ?
When you panic fired, it fell. Okay.
Sounds like your fault.
No. Your panic fire took my tablet off of my lap. You see?
Should have been faster.
Okay.
I'm just joking, Deidre. I'm doing a Deidre Clay impersonation.
No, you're not. I don't make really bad jokes like that. One.
I wasn't saying as far as making a bad joke. I was saying. Never mind. It's not important what I was saying now. Nothing. They're just cheaply adorable. Tornado striketh again. You never hit or passed on the fucking.
Oh my god, you ask for too much.
Cheap, you cooney. You know what's cool? All our little made-up words are totally legal, even on YouTube.
Uh-huh, totally legal.
Such and such as.
Such and such. Just speaking Deidre and Lee Christopher language.
Uh-huh.
Be all good.
All you gotta do is speak in cheapies.
Thank God there was a little traffic. So I could open the door.
Cheaply open the door.
Yeah, let me tell you, doesn't.
I love creating real-life memes.
Creating real life memes.
Yeah. You know, like cheapily.
Can't wait to get my first fan.
I know, right? Cheapily get my first.
Let me tell you, doesn't.
Wrong. I don't need a first fan. I have you.
Yeah, good for you.
Uh-huh.
I doesn't have you.
LOL. She fantasized about being true.
Anyway. Where's the... I know where you put it.
Right, cheaply put it.
Yes. Beautiful numbers. I gotta keep track of these numbers I'd be Googling.
Desune. You gotta at least speak them into the record.
Yeah, I did, but that's not good enough.
I mean, okay, but don't waste too much of your time. Like, you should just copy paste.
I'm just
the
copying
link.
the link and then putting it on a note and then labeling the note. I
Yeah,
mean, labeling the link.
That's exactly what I was going to recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Because you already read it into the record.
Mm-hmm. But I just want to be able to be able to find it.
Yeah,
You know.
of course. Super important. Because when you have debates, that's how you fucking destroy people.
So, what should I make this file? Stats? It's a statistics, personal stats file.
Like, you can win a debate with only logic, but if you also have, like, reams of facts, too, that's, like, ultra mega destruction.
Yes. If you have facts to back up your logic, no one can touch you.
Yeah, you're unassailable.
Yes.
But if you have only logic, you can still win, but it's just, like, ridiculously difficult. So, you have to have at least some... You should bring at least some facts to your debate if you intend to be perceived as having won it.
I don't need a folder, I just need a note. Delete. New. Data. Yeah. That's what I should call it, yes? Data.
Data?
The note.
What kind of data is it?
Just write all kinds of stuff. Just stats I'd be looking at. I can't call it statistics because I have a whole folder from stats class called statistics.
How about data vault?
Sure. Christopher and his vault. Data.
what I deal with? The assumption of stupidity.
No, I don't necessarily like that name. So I was like, is there anything else I can use like Vault?
I see. Never mind.
I was like, box, category, list. No, Vault is the best, I guess.
Not liking the word vault is racist against white people.
Okay.
And or dragons.
How
Bare minimum, it's racist against evil warlords.
how
Pirates.
immigrants
Kings of all sorts.
vote?
Immigrants. The immigrants and how they vote. Florinki Kentuquai.
Okay, there's that.
Cheap, cheap,
Cheap,
cheap,
cheap,
cheap, cheap, cheap, cheap, cheap, cheap, cheap.
Let's do this one last time.
You're not actually allowed to sing the lyrics, DJ.
Why not?
It's a copyright infringement. She can sue.
Really?
Yeah.
People have been covering songs on YouTube for forever.
I'm not sure about the legality of covers. I don't know how that works. But I think you have to actually be covering it. Alright, DJ.
That's retarded! That is, like, I don't see any kind of how that helps anyone. I wasn't stealing her song. It just got stuck in my fucking head, and I sung. No, you were singing it, so I fucking sung it. Oh my god, that's retarded. I am not trying to. If anything, I am helping Nicki Minaj because everyone knows that song and who it's by. They know I didn't fucking make that goddamn Starship song. Holy shit, that's retarded.
I'm not here to defend it to you, DJ.
Okay, I'm just saying, that's absolutely stupid.
Feels pretty stupid to me too.
I don't understand why. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe it's true that someone could sue me for going, we're for just now.
You can Google it if you want to.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't. Oh no, I don't want to.
I don't want
First of all, I don't even think it'd be easy to Google.
Okay, I've Googled it. It's not that hard to Google, but
Oh, okay, well, you can Google it again. And since you've Googled it and you think it's that hard to Google.
no, I would like to go back to the content.
Okay, well, you're the one who took my purple people.
Oh, cheaply took your purple people?
Yes. Didn't he, folks? Didn't he? I think he did.
I'm cheaply sorry.
People are gonna come. They're gonna participate in American.
I look so scary.
Institutional.
Yeah, you need to shave your mustache.
Yeah.
I told you.
I look scary. I look scary enough these days when even with my hair like at the proper length. So.
Yeah, but you wouldn't if you shaved your mustache.
Yeah.
That's like ultra mega. Your mustache, super like country bumpkin white guy. Just like the worst kind. That's what your mustache is like.
Perhaps calling it ultra mega not the greatest argument for getting me to shave it off. Just putting that out there.
Okay. I just don't think that anyone would want to look like an ultra mega. Those guys aren't very fashionable, just saying. Bitches don't look at them and be like, oh, panties wet. Nope. Nope.
Okay, well, we're clearly having a disconnect in communication right now.
Okay, well, the reason why I was calling you Ultra MAGA in a way that I expected for you to take as not exactly a good thing is because I was talking about looks. So that's where we
I just thought it was funny that you unironically used it as an insult.
Yes, and I was explaining why I did, because those guys don't look good.
Hashtag not.
Literally.
You
gonna break the car because you're super triggered?
Nope.
Yeah, you are. Certainly working on it.
As someone who has never threatened to break the car.
Who gives a shit?
Uh-huh.
Actions speak louder than words.
What have your actions said?
I didn't break the car. Still driving it, aren't you?
You're pretending in this moment that I've done anywhere near as much damage to this car as you have.
No, what damage have I done to the car that you haven't done?
Oh,
Please tell me.
that's funny.
What damage? A scratch on the back?
What?
A scratch on the back of the car? On the bumper? Is that what you're talking about?
Kicking, slamming, violent, angry driving.
Kicking my dashboard is not damaging my car. Angry, violent driving, you mean like you just did pulling into this parking lot?
Yeah, but way worse and way more.
No, I disagree. Not way worse or way more.
Oh, okay.
Highly disagree.
That's cool.
Let's not fucking forget that you started this fucking conversation because you fucking got triggered that I said you look like a MAGA guy with your fucking mustache, and those guys don't look good. You thought I was wrong to ever even try to use that word as an insult. As if there's no way you could insult Ultra MAGA guys. They don't look good. Neither does your mustache. There's nothing wrong with fucking saying that.
Got it. You don't like how I look. Moving on.
Your mustache! Why are you being a fucking bitch about it? Don't like how your mustache looks. This isn't the first time I fucking told you.
Right. That's not projection at all. I'm the one.
Projection? What?
I'm the one being a bitch, right?
By telling you, yes, you are, actually, because you're throwing a fucking bitch fit because I fucking said I don't like your mustache. I have every right to say I don't have I have every right to say I don't like how your mustache looks. I'm not being a bitch just for fucking doing that.
Okay. Just because I'm angry doesn't mean I'm being a bitch.
The way you are being angry means you are being a fucking bitch. Like, by being triggered and saying, I don't like how you look, period. When I said I didn't like your mustache. That's being a bitch, for sure. So is the way you drive into this goddamn parking lot. LOL. LOL. Can't stand that fucking shit. LOL.
Institutional narratives. Oh, you don't worry about building institutions or swaying institutions. You'll just get darker colored Republicans.
Here comes Ted Cruz. No, but
Yeah, you'll get Ted Cruz. I remember there was one moment where both Ted Cruz and Mario Rubio were talking about who.
Don't worry, folks. We do this all the time.
Immigrants.
Like, all the time. It's not even funny how much we do this. Like, it's literally not funny how much we do this.
Spanish immigrants more. Spanish-speaking immigrants more in Spanish. Right? So, like, this idea that you don't have to do politics because, like, somehow, like, race
You have to laugh
will
so
do
you
the
don't
work
cry.
for you is
And get
lazy,
therapy.
and it's institutionally, like, naive because institutions make Americans. Right? So...
yes, this is what I'm trying to work through, though, Irony. So if we understand that, and I think that Tucker Carlson is not a stupid person.
No.
And I think on some level, he has to understand that. And to the extent that he does do populism on his show, and does, I would argue, potentially more than a lot of liberal commentators, call out corporate elites, call out militarism and interventionism, to the extent that he kind of gets how things work, or at least cannot sufficiently to how things work to get a kind of populist credibility. He also knows that the institutions are making America
People are going to come, they're going to participate in American institutions.
lesser of two evils, and that's how we get into a place back against that, not because like Tucker Carlson, or if you don't want to attribute these views to Tucker Carlson and a number of other people, the shooter, not because I think that the browning of America is a problem, because I believe in white racial hierarchies, but because to me it was an argument against actually doing things in service of constituents, advancing the kinds of policies that people actually want politicians to advance, and instead sitting back and saying, well, they're never going to vote for those Republicans because the Republicans are too racist, so the Democratic Party just has to be the lesser of two evils, and that's how we get into a place where no one's actually offering positive policy prescriptions. So I am also mad at this thing, but I find myself in this bizarro position where I have to concede that Tucker Carlson is right in identifying that this really is the Democratic Party's plan.
Yeah.
But the
He's right.
Democratic Party is having trouble pushing back against him because, they've been saying it out loud for a long time.
I hate the demographics as destiny, because it's not true. Not only is it lazy politics, it's not true because you don't understand how institutions work. Even if America...
It is true. It is true.
If there's a browning of America, doesn't mean they're all going to go Democrats.
Right.
No one said all. Just way more. More than there should be. If we didn't have immigrants coming in, specifically at this rate. It's difficult because I don't think that immigration should stop, but obviously there should be limits on it for multiple reasons, financial and political.
Institutions make Americans.
Yeah.
Right? Not biology. Institutions make Americans. So people are going to come, they're going to participate in American institutions, and if you don't have institutional control or institutional narratives, or you don't worry about building institutions or swaying institutions, you'll just get darker colored Republicans.
I think it's kind of ridiculous to think that they don't care about swaying institutions or building institutions when they're literally bringing people in to change the Democratic vote. Obviously, they're trying to sway institutions, and they're not going to stop there. That's never been the only thing that they're doing. You don't have to worry about Democrats pushing the Democratic agenda. They will always do that. They've never not done that.
Here comes Ted Cruz. No, but
Yeah, you'll get Ted Cruz. I mean, there was one moment where both Ted Cruz and Mario Rubio were talking about who hates Spanish immigrants more, Spanish-speaking immigrants more, in Spanish, right? So, this idea that you don't have to do politics because, somehow, race will do the work for you is lazy, and it's institutionally naive, because institutions make Americans, right? So
yes, this is what I'm trying to work through, though, Irene. So if we understand that,
it's really funny because Democrats tell you on one hand, don't worry, in X amount of generations, everyone will be Democrats. But at the same time, right now, they have to push this fear factor of Republicans are super racist and the enemy, so you have to vote blue. This should tell you that they will do whatever it takes, say whatever it takes to get their votes. And I'm not saying that Republicans, if they were in a similar position of, if they didn't have such a loyal base, that I'm not saying they wouldn't do very similar things. They do similar things, even with the loyal base that they have. But because they have such a loyal base, because their base is just inherently American or for America, and the Democrats' position is inherently against America because they're for change. So you're going to find on that side way more frequently this distaste for America because they are for fixing America. A lot of them will take that too far and think that America needs fixed so much that it's a bad thing inherently. Because the Republicans have such a loyal base and they're on the complete opposite side of that spectrum, they don't have to do as much saying whatever they need to say, abiding by the voices of the people, because the voices of the people on the Republican side doesn't change nearly as much as the Democratic side does, because the Democratic side is all for change.
And I think that Tucker Carlson is not a stupid person.
No.
I think on some level he has to understand that, and to the extent that he does do populism on his show, and does, I would argue, potentially more than a lot of liberal commentators, call out corporate elites, call out militarism and interventionism, you know, to the extent that he kind of gets how things work, or at least can nod sufficiently to how things work to get a kind of populist credibility. He also knows that the institutions are making American.
Like race will do the work for you is lazy, and it's institutionally like naive, because institutions make Americans, right? So
yes, this is what I'm trying to work through, though, Irony. So if we understand that, and I think that Tucker Carlson is not a stupid person.
What are you cheesing for?
I'm not allowed to be happy.
I think on some level he has to understand that, and to the extent that he does do populism on his show, and does, I would argue, potentially more than a lot of liberal commentators, call out corporate elites, call out militarism and interventionism, you know, to the extent that he kind of gets how things work, or at least can nod sufficiently to how things work to get a kind of populist credibility. He also knows that the institutions are making Americans, and yet he's persisting in adopting a kind of rhetoric, which, even though he cleanses it of any explicit racial terminology and opts instead for terms like legacy Americans, he is still doing that. Like, he's still choosing to take this great replacement theory that has its origins in these extremist white supremacist websites and clean it up for the mainstream.
there are two things going on here. One,
Oh my God. How do you on one hand acknowledge that there's so much, that there's a significant level of, that she hasn't said that anything he said is untrue, and yet she still thinks he's taking this untrue thing and just cleaning it up? It doesn't make sense.
It's not even clear to me that, I mean, I've never heard her coherently argue that, like, I've never heard her clearly express or articulate it.
Yes, so she acknowledges on one hand that Democrats are saying they want more vote blue. She acknowledges are founded in truth that the base that they're coming from is racism.
Yeah, because the consequences either way, you know, and that the two-way street aspect of it is what Democrats overlook. But either way, no matter what your policy is on the issue of immigration, it's racist. It's just an inherently racist topic. It's immigration. It's your fucking borders. Geographic borders. You know, one of the main ingredients of race in the first place.
So being for immigration or not would be racist according to that mindset. So no, I don't think that just talking about immigration, in her opinion, is racist. Not wanting any limitation on immigration, in her opinion, is racist. In my opinion. Or my opinion of her opinion is racist,
No,
if that's what you're saying.
I'm very confident she would acknowledge that there is some degree of I forget.
Do you want me to?
No, it's okay. I'm sure I'll remember.
Legacy Americans also means legacy American institutions, and legacy American institutions are racialized. So if you keep everything as is institutionally,
Legacy American institutions are racialized. I disagree with that. Only if you mean racialized because everyone is a race.
Maybe that is all he means. I'm not sure. That's probably not all he means, but that's probably the majority of the truth behind what he means. That's my guess.
Can't ignore that everyone belongs to a race.
Yeah.
And that's going to show up in your policy to some degree, even if it's just don't discriminate on the basis of race. Oh, and this race of people has these problems, and we should help these specific people in this specific way.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really see much racialism or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you say other than that, but those things are deceptively huge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Other than those two ginormous things,
all-encompassing fucking enormous things.
There's not much other racialization in American legacy institutions.
Well, the things you mentioned are enough to get people pretty hot. And, I mean, it's...
But I don't... first of all, Democrats agree with both of those things, though. So they agree with not having policies based on that discriminate based on race, and at least they should, and they agree that there are some situations where you do need to acknowledge a person's race because that race might be experiencing some hardships, and you want to help that specific race with those hardships, like affirmative action. Okay?
Well, obviously, there's a natural contradiction between those two things that you have to balance, you know?
What do you mean? Too much of anything?
No, I mean, well, yeah, but it specifically, like, there's an inherent contradiction between having race-neutral policy and
helping
races that need
help in
specific ways that those races need help.
Yeah. Obviously, there's natural contradiction there.
Those two important things.
Yeah, well, you just add unjustly. Don't discriminate unjustly on the basis of race, okay, or anything else.
Which is why we get back to the principle of the discrimination inherently being good and then just bad if it's too much or the wrong way.
No, I don't think a discrimination is inherently good necessarily.
Okay, I think the reason anyone believes that it isn't inherently good is because they're just taking it for granted all the time, all the little times that it is good, and all the big times that it is good.
Okay, well, sitting here arguing with me is not what you're supposed to be doing.
I agree. Oops.
So he has this mindset of Racism is treating someone differently on the basis of their race, good or bad, which would fall in line with the definition. If you look up the definition in the dictionary, it's discrimination on the basis of race, with an emphasis on it being bad, but not inherently being bad. And the most common conception for the word racism is treating someone poorly on the basis of their race. So it causes this issue where he wants to say basically that discrimination, so he wants to say that discrimination is inherently good because discrimination is a tool. You can use it for good or bad because people are different, and sometimes people do need to be treated differently for good reasons. Like affirmative action, like welfare. That's not just for black people, that's for anyone who's experiencing financial trouble. That is a whole group of people that you can discriminate in a positive or negative way towards. So discrimination is a tool that can be used positively or negatively, like a hammer. And tools are inherently good. Without tools, we would not have as much production as we have. We would not be as effective as we are. So that is why he has the stance of racism is inherently good, because racism is just discrimination on the basis of race. And
You said is or isn't?
is.
Oh, I couldn't hear it properly. Sorry, continue.
Like, that's not good for black people. Like, that just calcifies the hierarchy. So, like, I'm not very comfortable with how easily he leans on the idea of legacy Americans, especially when it comes with legacy.
I don't like being interrupted at all. Just at all. And it's really hypocritical because I interrupt a lot, but I cannot stand to be interrupted for no good reason. Specifically.
American way of life and legacy American institution and legacy American sensibilities, which haven't been consistent with racial justice and would have to actually be markedly changed in order to be.
Right. Also, on its face, I mean, definitionally, what is a legacy American? I think that he would argue that it has to do with chronology as opposed to race, right? I'm not saying.
I think he would argue that it have to be with a way of life and like.
Sure, but
maybe
you know,
lineage?
how do you? Legacy. I mean, what does it literally mean? I think I tweeted this out, and somebody pushed back and said, "Oh well," I basically tweeted out, "Why aren't black people legacy Americans? You know, like no one's been here longer than us."
They are.
There's literally no argument that they aren't.
Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, there's no reason to assume that they wouldn't be.
That's racist.
Hey, that's ridiculously racist, yes.
Both to black people and to the white people you think wouldn't consider black people legacy Americans.
Yeah.
Both.
It's also just stupid.
Don't act like I'm not a fucking legacy American. Don't act like my father is not a fucking legacy American.
Don't act like people don't treat him and you like legacy Americans. They do.
I don't get treated like no foreigner.
The fuck?
The fuck?
No, you get treated like you own this damn place.
Yes.
Because you do. And so does your father.
Yes. I get treated like, sometimes, very rarely, like someone doesn't like that I'm here.
Yeah, just like everybody has to deal with.
I don't like that most of these people are here. The fuck?
Okay.
That doesn't mean I don't think they are legacy.
Big difference.
Big difference. you are here, Brianna Greyjoy. I don't like that you're here, but I think you're a legacy American. I think if you hate America, you should go somewhere else. But that's my fucking personal opinion. That doesn't mean I don't think that you and your family are Americans and that you couldn't belong here. I just don't necessarily think you want to right now. I do think you do belong here. So I think everyone belongs in a place with free speech. But you don't want free speech. So that makes me wonder whether or not, but it's, makes me wonder whether or not, number one, you deserve to be here, or whether you even want to be here.
I'm sure she would claim that she wants free speech.
Well, she's on the side of a lot of people who don't.
Sure is.
So, guilty by association, yeah, I'm doing a little bit of that right now.
Well,
Just a little bit.
not really, but in terms of politics, that's how shit works.
Yes.
Why would you vote for the Democrats when they're the anti-free speech party? Huh?
That's what I'm saying. I'm just doing a little bit of that right now. A little bit of guilty by association because this is politics.
Why would you not vote for the Republicans in order to punish the Democrats for being openly anti-free speech
Which is one
as
of
a
the
principle?
One of the founding principles of this country. The first founding principle of this country.
The only founding principle.
All the rest of the principles are built around the first, to protect the first
Yeah.
one.
Huh?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. I have to pee.
One always has to miss it in such a can.
Can. Fuck pain. I'm not rubbing metal against my vagina.
I wonder if you're allowed to say vagina on YouTube.
Oh, will that trigger someone?
I mean, apparently you're not allowed to say abuser.
Well, a vagina is literally a scientific term.
Abuser is a legal term.
I guess science supersedes law on YouTube.
No, I'm pretty sure there are scientific things you're also not allowed to say.
I can't, no, I'm just saying, I would guess there are more legal things you're not allowed to say than scientific.
LOL. That's a good question. I bet there's more scientific things.
Well, there are more scientific things to say, period. So you have to proportion it
I'm
with
factoring
that.
that in, yeah.
There are just so many more scientific things to say.
There's quite a few legal things to say, but there's just a basically limitless supply of scientific things to say.
I mean, legal is just a branch of science, anyway.
That's a stretch.
I think philosophy is a kind of science, and law is basically just philosophy put into
philosophy. No, so I consider science a kind of philosophy. It's a very subtle distinction, but it doesn't make a huge difference, probably.
whatever. I'm not about to argue with you about that. You can argue with your meta-ass friends about that one. Do you have the vape?
Yeah. one smelleth such a vagina.
Yamite. Such a disgusting.
I'm not say vagina, but I'm not. I say
Okay.
If anyone, I mean, obviously some Native Americans and some people, some white people have. But when you look at the huge immigration wave that happened in the 40 years of like the last 20 years of the 19th century and the first 20 years of the 20th century, where 20 million European immigrants came to this country, you know, compared to the 12.5 million that were brought in the transatlantic slave trade to the Americas in the 19th century and the first 20 years of the 20th century, where 20 million European immigrants came to this country, you know, compared to the 12.5 million that were brought in the transatlantic slave trade to the Americas. If anyone got great replaced, there were a lot of
I mean,
Black
he's
Americans
talking about legacy Americana. He's not talking about like actual people. He's talking about legacy way of life.
Right, but he
It's
gets.
a nostalgia.
I think he gets away. Like I'm pushing this point not because I'm trying to wedge Black Americans into legacy Americans for any kind of like benefit.
On the head by Tucker Carlson, but because I think that when you
Trust me, no one thought you were trying to get a pat on the head from Tucker Carlson.
Just the fact that you even said that now I feel like you're trying to get a pat on the head
From Tucker
like
Carlson.
a real life pat on the head, like before having sex with him or something.
Yeah.
That's how hard I feel like you're projecting right now, Brianna Greyjoy.
Uh-huh.
I'd love to be wrong.
start to try to tease out what he means by these phrases and like challenge who has more entitlement, as it were, to this country. Not that we should think of it that way, but to the extent that he does, who has been here longer, who has fought in more of its wars, who is more invested in it, who has had a bigger cultural impact, who can lay claim to other parts of the American.
None of those things are what I think an legacy American means.
Right.
Not a one.
She's so bad at understanding what it means, or she's very dishonest. One of the two.
Yeah.
All it means is just believing in the American values.
Uh-huh. Do you or do you not think?
Free speech is
Yeah. Do you believe in the American dream as laid out by the founding fathers? Yes or no?
If yes, you are a legacy American.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been here for a decent amount of time. That is all.
Right. So in that case, no, you very much might not be a legacy American.
Uh-huh. But not for the reasons you think.
Only by your own choice.
Yes. Trust me. Clarence
a legacy American.
The legacy
The legacyist. And he is very black. The blackest.
That's how I choose to view blackness.
Uh-huh. Right.
Clarence Thomas and Martin Luther King.
Don't at me.
A little Malcolm X, but not a lot. That's just some hardened and beaten. That's a beaten black person. Okay.
There's what things are, and there's what things could be. You know.
So I think the beaten and broken down and bitter and resentful black person, that's Malcolm X. Yeah, for sure. But a black person at his best, that black person at what everyone wants a black person to be, that's Clarence Thomas, that's Martin Luther King.
Much more Clarence Thomas than Martin Luther King.
Yes, but a lot of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was like one of the heroes of Clarence Thomas.
For sure. No question.
Let me put it like this.
Thomas's hero was his grandfather. His grandfather was not that different of a man than Martin Luther King.
There you go.
There you go.
That's the right one.
Right.
X equals X.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Neither one of them lived as long as they should have, I'm sure.
Yet another story of a great life sadly cut short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I do think Clarence Thomas's grandfather lived a significantly longer life.
Definitely a longer
I think he
life than his brother.
died in his like 70s or 80s or something like that.
Yeah, much luckier.
Pretty much natural death. Oh yeah. I mean, I have no idea what happened, but I know that Clarence Thomas was like in his late 60s, early 70s, I would guess.
Saying that his grandfather had died 25 years prior. So that's, I mean, so that means his grandfather lived till he was about 40. That's pretty good. For
I'm jealous as fuck of that.
Right?
My grandpa's about to be dead, so
Mm-hmm.
26.
Now, we can assume that they had kids closer together back in those days, but still, you know what I mean? Like, I bet his grandpa was younger when he had his.
My fucking mom was 29 when she had me.
And how old was your dad when he had your mom? That's also another question.
My dad when he had.
I mean, your grandpa when his wife when Kathy had your mom. How old was your grandpa? Right, but I would guess probably in his 30s.
I think she's the second oldest child.
Okay, so it might have been pretty early. But
she fucked that up. That's why everybody liked it when bitches was having babies when they was like 18, 20, but they were all married.
Yeah, sure. But, you know, then we wouldn't be together. Unless you were also born then at that time. But,
Good luck.
yeah, right.
Now we're adding a bunch of ifs.
Right.
That's a bunch of ifs.
Way too many.
Gotta start a new stream.